What if everything you've learned about self-improvement was wrong? When we struggle to have, be, do, or live the way that we want, well, initially we can be like the strategy isn't the right strategy, or we're not doing the right things. But essentially we get to this place of, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not something enough, right? And if you've been following me for any length of time, you'll probably realize my message about health and life points to the fact that that is an illusion. From that place, when we look at ourselves not being enough, we are filled with judgment and criticism, and we make ourselves feel powerless. And I believe we are much more powerful than what we realize, and we have this untapped potential, and in moments of challenges or disasters or crises, we are able to draw on that untapped potential and really kind of rise to another level and see what we're capable of. But most teachings tell us to do more and be more or be different to what we are, but not to see more. Okay, and that's really what I want to talk about in this video. You know, in the last podcast, I talked about relying on another element in achieving our goals. And I did share a story about when I was struggling initially in my business. And so when I was in this financial struggle years ago, well, initially I thought I didn't have the right business strategy. So I employed business coaches to help me. But pretty soon after that, I was starting to see, well, all these other people, they're doing the strategies, they are successful, but I'm not. Okay. So then I turned inwards. It was like a personal flaw. It was something with my personality, right? I wasn't enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't doing it right. I did all these things to fix myself and my personality, my flaws and the areas where I wasn't good enough. I did affirmations. I did tapping on my money blocks. I remember one night very late on a Friday night, it was me and a friend, we were working in a co-working space and we decided that we had money blocks, right? That's the reason why we weren't making the money that we wanted to, right? We weren't making enough to even survive. And so we thought, okay, we're gonna tap on our money blocks. And here we are at like 9 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night in a co-working space and the cleaners are around us cleaning. It's just the two of us like tapping on our money blocks, right? Because we thought that we had some belief or some block that was holding us back from being where we wanted to be. It's pretty funny in hindsight, but I'm not saying that any of those things are wrong, by the way. What I do want to point to is that we have more tools at our disposal, and it's not about a lack or a belief blocking us. And if it is, we have other tools to help uncover that and remove that really easily. So not only at that time, because in that way of thinking for me, I really did believe that because self-development does get you to look at where you need to maybe even upskill, right? So I thought I was not that good at relationships and then I was not that good at dating. And so there was a skill issue there. I needed to upskill. And as you can see, all of these things that I'm pointing to are looking at ways in which I'm not enough, right? I'm missing something, okay? And it's very rarely about that. So personal development, in my experience, points to lack, that you have to do hard work to change your beliefs, change your habits, change your behaviors. You've got to be on it all the time. You've got to change your thinking to change your life, okay? Be positive in your thoughts, analyze your beliefs, break them down. I certainly did a lot of work around that. I spent lots of journals going through beliefs, right? And all it does, it makes you hyper vigilant on your thinking and on your beliefs. It makes you more self-conscious. It makes you more inner focused or obsessed or self-absorbed, right? And it's overwhelming. It's a lot of work to be looking in and it's not really going to move you ahead. Now, I'm not saying not to have any kind of personal awareness, right? That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that, you know, if we're going too deep into looking at our thinking and, you know, looking at where we're lacking, we're missing the bigger picture. Because I can guarantee you there are people out there who are doing what you want to do and have what you want to have in their life, but they have personal flaws, they have personality flaws, they don't have the talent or the skills or whatever it is that you think that you need to have. I can guarantee you of that, okay? So I've found that approach to personal development not very effective, right? So if I'm going to see that I'm lacking in something, then I'm always going to be finding another way to work on myself, finding another skill that I have to learn and doing all these things. And it places more attention on our flaws. And if we do that, we feel worse, right? We don't feel good when we're focusing on our flaws. And the worse you feel, we're not doing our best in our life, okay? If your mood's really low and you're focusing on all the bad things in your life and all the bad things that you have about yourself, you're not really going to be confident and working at your best. But when we feel good, we create better relationships. We make better health choices even, right, when we feel good. We have better working teams. Our business will make more money. Like all of this occurs from a place of feeling good. Okay, so the idea is not to feel bad, but we want to feel good, and we're focusing on our flaws, and we all have them. We're just not going to feel good, right? It's really basic. It's not rocket science, okay? Anything that makes us feel good makes us perform at our best. So what really moves the needle in helping us either have the ideas that we need to have to make the breakthrough in our life, to create the change, even to create a change in our behaviors. So often we look at changing our behaviors is using constant willpower. There's constant efforting every single day to maintain our habits. But until we have a shift with insights, until we have an internal shift, it's going to be very hard for us to maintain any new habits. And what I mean is that insights are what we have. They are built into us. And it's kind of like those moments where you could call it intuition or you could call it insights, but you see a higher perspective. You see things differently. You get a fresh perspective on things, right? And it could look like an aha moment or anything like that. So, I talked about in the last podcast that I had one insight that changed my business life and my life very, very quickly, okay? And so if I was looking to get the results that I did without the insight, it would have been a lot of hard work. And I honestly don't know how much longer I would have been stuck in that place. And so my insight was with my business that not everything you do is going to work out. It's really basic insight, but I heard it on another level, right? It's like when that was said, everything in my brain just kind of slotted into place. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a light bulb moment. And I went, oh, that makes so much sense. Now I can see why I'm not getting the results. Okay. And it's that level of awareness that makes change seem almost effortless. Okay. Had clients over the years. I had this woman, she was a long-term chronic smoker. And she would have smoked for about 30 years. And she went to a seminar, she had an insight, and she came home and told her family, I am never going to smoke again. Like, I absolutely know I'm never going to smoke again. And her family were like, that's crazy. Like, that's never going to happen, right? And then she started to doubt herself and doubt her insights. But she did actually maintain and be a non-smoker because her insight, she had a revelation in that seminar that loosened the grip of the addiction, okay? So she didn't have to control her behavior the next day. She didn't have to remind herself every day, okay, just don't smoke, just distract myself, keep myself busy, do whatever it is, right? Her brain had already switched into her being a non-smoker, okay, through that insight, okay? The things that had kept and compelling her to smoke were gone with an insight. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Insights help to really pave the way to make change much easier. It helps us to find the way, and it helps to make it easier for us to implement that change. So there isn't struggle associated with it. So that's why I think that this idea that we need to struggle to make these changes is just missing the mark, right? It's just, yes, we struggle when we don't have an insight. And so we can either decide to rely on our intellect or we can rely on our insights. And intellect is, if you're worried about something that's happening in your life, or you need to make a change, or you need to make a business decision, you don't know what to do, you don't know what the right thing is to do. And often we rely on our intellect, which is not as good as an insight, because our intellect, we're going to make the same decisions that we always make, right? We're only going to draw on our previous experience. Our previous experience, we got to level 5 and all of our decisions will be based along level 5, if that makes sense. But an insight will take you to level 100. And we can't think along those lines because we never have. Okay. And so our insights will give us much more traction and much more growth and much more transformation and much more change than our intellect ever will. But the problem is we rely too much by worrying and overanalyzing and overthinking things. So I love a quote by Nikola Tesla Nikola Tesla understood more about electricity and the earth and energy than anybody else, I think, still today. And he had this quote, which I love. He said, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration." He said, "I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists." And, we have an intelligence behind our life. We have an intelligence that runs the human body. When you think about it, when we cut ourselves, our immune system gets to work so automatically. We're not sitting there thinking that we should do these things, right? We're not going to bed at night and hoping and keeping ourselves awake so we can remember to breathe, or we can keep our heart pumping. You're not digesting your food right now. It's happening all by itself. And there is an intelligence that runs all of that. And that same intelligence is there to guide us through our life. Okay, when we learn to rely on it. In the last podcast I talked about, Price Pritchard said, rely on unseen forces. And this is the same thing, right? This unseen intelligence that is guiding us through insights which are built into us to guide our life. That's what they're there for. If we're not in a noisy state of mind or relying on our intellect to get us through. So if you're stuck anywhere in your goals or in your life or in your business, in your health, in your relationships, in your family, within your community, then look for an insight. Really kind of keep your mind as quiet as you can until you get that insight. Because once you get it, the best place to get an insight is through a quiet mind. Okay, so when you're busy trying to figure things out, which is what I was doing years ago, it really kept me stuck for a lot longer. Okay, I didn't know it then. I didn't understand that then. But I certainly did afterwards, that when I can feel my mind spinning on a problem that I can't find a resolution to, I need an insight. There's nothing else is going to move me forward, okay? And then I have to pull back and really trust that that insight will show up, which it will, in a quieter state of mind, okay? So look at what is happening and where you're stuck right now, and what could you do in order to kind of have faith that an insight is what you need to move you forward. Or share below in the comments, what insights have you had that have really made a significant change in your life that felt almost effortless, right? Felt like you didn't have to make this big decision and it wasn't hard to implement. What insight did you have that was really a bit of a life-changing moment? Let me know in your comments below.